Shravant Alluru is the founder and CEO of Avataar, and he joins us live from Bangalore with more thoughts on this business and the prospects thereof. It's great to see you, Shravant, on the show. Thank you very much for your time. Let me start off there because, Christine and I obviously had this discussion going on the existence of the metaverse, what it means, how value accretive could it be for our lives. Where does the story stand in India? So I get the 3D angle, getting products to be viewed in a 3D way, so helping online retailers with that. But I mean, how does the story unfold from there? What's next?
Yep, no, that's a great question, Tanvir. And to start with, Christine, thanks for having me on the show. All my pleasure. In terms of how we're seeing this evolve from a consumer standpoint, is COVID has had a significant tailwind in terms of sophistication that we're seeing across geographies. We today primarily work in US and India. I can talk to you about those two geographies. And what we're seeing is evolution from today's augmented reality, which is here and now and real, in the sense that today consumers can create their own private versions of what I call as multiverse rather than metaverse, because each one can create their own private versions of the shared physical reality. And that's already real. We're seeing it live. We're seeing a lot of utilitarian value come out of this engagement, in the sense that, like you rightly alluded to, in commerce, we're seeing almost 3 times sales uplift the moment you shift from the 2D visual discovery, which is flat and static, to a fully dynamic, your own space where you're probably mixing and matching products from a marketplace, and then looking at the purchase discovery from a completely new lens with a spatial depth, a third dimension added to the discovery. And that is where we see utility value, Tanvir, at this point, and that's where we're double dipping into. The way this will evolve in the next decade, from my standpoint, would be practically what I call as multiverse, where each of us will start having the superhuman capability of creating private versions of this shared physical reality. Now, some of it could be fully virtual, like metaverses, in the sense that you could be transported into a virtual mall, walk around it, look at different brand stores, and perhaps shop. But equally, I think there'll be the other segment of it, which is your own shared physical reality. Think of me dropping a movie theater and sharing that movie with, say, my wife, and keep it private to just the two of us, right? So those kind of use cases will start evolving. I think the compute is ready today, Tanvir. Even in a market like India, the lowest in hand Android devices that you buy are already compliant with these capabilities and have the compute.
Yeah. Shravant, I get your point, and we were looking at visuals of how obviously 3D helps with a better shopping experience, enhanced shopping experience, more personalized shopping experience. I just want to understand, when you talk about the metaverse, how real can it be in terms of becoming a part of our lives? How do we get there? How do we get to that point and live in a virtual world?
Yep, then you were literally asking me the thesis of why I jumped in and started Avataar. But what I see is AI and computer vision today has reached the inflection of being able to truly blend a virtual experience or a virtual product into the physical reality. And this is pretty much trying to emulate the laws of physics in terms of lighting, in terms of surface. And I think technology, for the first time in human history, has come to the point that we can now really start augmenting the shared physical reality with truly photorealistic virtual experiences. And I think that's the inflection that was needed to perhaps bridge this divide. And at the core of us humans, we are visual sensory perception machines, right? In the sense that 60% of our sensory perception in our brain is visual. And so I do see Tanvir, this hitting the right emotional connect in terms of consumer psychology, and therefore would have a reasonable impact on upgrading today's digital world, which is static 2.0, into a very dynamic, interactive virtual world that we start engaging in. And that shift to me is a writing on the wall. And it's been so for the last decade, if you look at it right from the days when Facebook acquired Oculus almost a decade back to today, and the evolution that's happened in the OEM ecosystem towards
Okay,
this.
Shravant. Christine, let me jump in. I'm trying to get a sense of, give us a profile of the companies who are your clients, who are embracing this new 3G technology, this metaverse universe that you're talking about.
Today, I'd say that, Christine, we are live with large enterprises in the US. Where the idea is there is a seller perhaps selling a product on a marketplace to a consumer, and it's being used. It's using 2D images in the tile of carousel of images that you see on a product description page. We're upgrading that breadth of catalog into life-size 3D so that consumers can now drop that product into their own space. That's what we call as an avatar of that product. And we're incarnating that physical product virtually to help the consumer look at his own space, for example, a couch in my living space, and look at the final, the outcome, which is how does my living space look with this couch? And that's been the predominant focus. Our client profile is today top large enterprise marketplaces in the US. And while I can't take client names, I can tell you that today our clientele together accounts for about $750 billion of GMV, which is about 7% of the overall digital retail market, which is about $12 trillion. So we're early in at the top of the pyramid with about 7% of market access. And that's what we're trying to upgrade, which is already a captive demand supply ecosystem using 2D images and videos. And we're upgrading that into leveraging AI and computer vision to upgrade that into the tomorrow's way of going about discovery.
Okay, very quickly, Sravant, you raised $45 million in Series B funding. What exactly is your revenue model, and how profitable is this sort of business?
Yep, Christine, we are a software as a service model, so you can expect robust unit economics. So, our funding is primarily about growth capital rather than survival capital, in the sense that we do have operating leverage, which is fairly strong and gives us the ability to reinvest back into growth from the core business itself. Our business model is primarily as a platform, so we have subscription models where our platforms take us on upfront, integrate our renderer into their front ends, and thereby a maintenance subscription base fee is contracted upfront. And then there's a pay as you go in terms of the breadth of catalog being converted into life-size 3D, which is a separate recurring contract for the next 2 years, which we sign up and continue that as we go. So unit economics wise, happy to tell you that we are very strong and robust on our unit profile. And so capital raise, we just announced a 45 million led by Tiger Global and participant by Sequoia. This is primarily towards expanding technology innovation. So 70% of it goes into product engineering research, and 30% goes into the global penetration of our platform across clientele. So it's primarily towards proliferating the Avataar Inside engine and embedding it into various places where commerce is happening today.
Okay. All right, Sravant, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much. All the best in your metaverse world. Do update us with your new technology soon. We'd love to hear from you. Sravant Alluru from Avataar.